I literally feel like they kind of liked it, but they know that, like, going on here and liking shit just doesn't get in the algorithm. So what they're going to do is kind of, like, backhanded bash it and do racist shit to it. It's all they got. Oh, yeah. Next thing I had up. We'll go ahead. No, let's go ahead and cover the Nerdrotic video before we get to the main topic. As you can probably see, this is a new Nerdrotic daily. I'm assuming it's a stream coverage. We watched a little bit of it yesterday. But yeah, you might notice that this is mildly a bigoted thumbnail. Let's taco about Blue Beetle. Yeah, that's a literal thing they made. It is. That's the thing. Like, I feel like these guys used to try to be a bit more creative with their bigotry. Like, try to, like, hide it. But, like, this is just, like, there's no argument for this. This is just pure bigotry. This is garbage. Oh, yeah. So I bet you it's from Friday Night Tights, because this is Let's Taco About Blue Beetle, featuring Mauler and Disparu. And then, Friday Night Tights, Blue Beetle, Blops. Yeah, that's probably the full thing. Star Hers. Yeah, I heard that's the new thing Nerdrotic's trying to push through. That's new MCU. It's Star Hers. That's the thing. Like, most of these guys I have to watch quite a bit before I, like, do, like, lots of people are like, you just call everybody racist and bigoted, and I don't. I usually watch a few bigoted videos before I come to that conclusion. Nerdrotic was the one exception, because his thing was like, you know, here's my video justifying the MCU, and the MCU was just sexist on its face. Like, there's no arguing that's not sexist. But, we're gonna go ahead and dive in this video. Let's see what this great stream's about. Like I said, we watched a little bit of it yesterday. We'll go over probably the whole thing today.
Anytime there's a Hispanic or black character in a movie or a show, it is completely centered around that culture, and there's no other aspect of anything else. It's like, okay.
These guys like to make bold, wild claims like that. Like, oh, you know, whenever so-and-so is connected, it's going to, like, be the whole movie. And they never, like, cite sources of this big pandemic of movies where it's all primarily about, like, some sort of non-important, like, feature of the person. Like, they always just claim it. You know, and there are examples they could cite, but they're actually quite few. It's not an actual major issue. It's an individual issue that movies might have, but, like, as far as, like, movies in general, no. That's not an issue. But yes.
Okay, he happens to be Hispanic. Does every single aspect of his life have to be tacos? Yes. Literally in the beginning.
No. A huge aspect of his life is that he got a pre-law degree, and he's looking for a job. That's a huge aspect of his life.
He walks in, he's getting back from college. They're like, let's go get tacos. And then they walk into their house, and she's like, that's where Mama told us how to make salsa.
Isn't the guy?
Like,
isn't the name of his
truck is?
And I think it's worth noting that the movie was directed by a Mexican American. It was written by a Mexican American. Has a large Mexican American cast. It's just them talking about their culture essentially at that point.
Taco.
It's the taco.
How much you pay for that taco?
Hey, yo, you know this, boy. He's got his free taco.
Ha ha ha, he fell. Nerdrotic. These clips are hilarious. Good work.
Nerdrotic.com.
And I don't know if we want to put up spoilers, but I can share them because they're pretty hilarious.
Nobody cares. Nobody.
I do think it's worth noting Blue Beetle was actually a really good movie, covered on the podcast last Monday. I really enjoyed it. Best DC movie since The Batman, easily. I mean, as far as this year, as far as comparing it to other comic book movies this year, I'd still put behind Guardians 3 and Across the Spider-Verse, but that's about it. I would say it's the third best superhero movie this year. And it's a bit disappointing. Like, the current DC universe is not going anywhere. The James Gunn universe is going to take over. This movie is not going to really take over. It's not bringing the box office to make it worth it for James Gunn to fold it into his universe, so it will be forgotten about, I'm pretty sure. But it's good. It's worth checking out, guys.
Just Shad, if you've seen a superhero movie before, then there's no spoilers. They just take pieces of other superhero movies.
If you've seen Shaquille O'Neal in Steel, you've seen this film.
That's like, okay, so Heelsvsbabyface, as however you want to call him. I feel like he'll just say random fucking shit where it doesn't really matter. Like, sure, it's Steel and Blue Beetle are both superhero movies. Their delivery is vastly different, and how well they're told is vastly different. I slaughtered the kid's name, but the actor who plays Miguel in Cobra Kai and plays Jaime in this movie, he does a very good job, and it feels criminal to compare him to Shaquille O'Neal as far as acting. Criminal.
Pretty much. I do think there's some stuff that, hey, I love the fact that they made a family-centered movie.
I enjoyed that as well.
How important family was and how they...
So, I think it's worth noting, I agree with Ryan Kinel's take on this one. Feels weird to say that, but yes.
Stuck together. Like, I think that was a great aspect of this. One of the few great...
Well, Troy, he's actually pretty much implied that for every single DC movie that's come out this year. Like, oh, it's kind of in its own universe. It'll be its own thing, or, it'll be in my universe. It's all kind of based on the box office success. He doesn't want it to be like, he doesn't want, obviously the studio, it's probably the studio mainly, doesn't want these projects to be, the audience to think these projects will be forgotten about, because they probably mostly are. That being said, if it was a huge box office success, I'm sure he would have, but it's not.
Great aspects of the movie that it was really centered on family. I like the fact that there was a love interest and it wasn't like she was shutting him down or whatever.
Yeah.
I like that. That's kind of back to traditional, some storytelling that we don't fucking get. But
I don't know about the traditional. I mean, the love story here was fine, but like talking about being traditional, it was kind of standard. It was fine. I thought the actors had decent chemistry, but like it didn't thrill me. It definitely wasn't a highlight of the movie.
But it just is not enough to make up for a lot of the big problems.
Oh, exactly. Like, because I enjoyed the family aspect too. The problem,
I've never done any individual coverage of Shad, but I keep on seeing him brought up, and his takes are so cringe. I miss it when he just did weapons. I miss that.
is I found the family so bloody annoying.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just like,
You see, the family, in my opinion, was the highlight. I thought they were great.
come on, and that uncle, like, when they take the truck and he like passes out, I'm just like, am I watching?
And I think it's worth noting, that's almost like Ryan Kinel was just saying how much he liked the family, and then Shad comes in and says, I dislike the family. So, contradictory. I wonder if they'll debate it. Probably not.
Like a cartoon. This is ridiculous in the extreme. They're all caricatures.
At the end, the uncle got blown up and then was fine.
Yeah.
Well, you never really saw it. You just saw.
Yeah, you didn't see him get blown up. I know watching it, I didn't believe he was blown up. Like, yeah, obviously there was the implication, but I didn't believe it for a second.
Oh, that everything
No,
collapsed.
that's true, Ryan. We did see the missile going that far away from him.
We saw him go, oh,
exploding,
shit.
causing an unbelievable amount of devastation. And then 2 minutes later,
We're tough
he's holding...
people.
You're
That's what
tough
we
people.
do.
No, Mexicans are sneaky, dude. Come on.
Survive because of racism.
Also, I'm not sure how much credit I want to give him for the whole family stuff and even the
Neither do
relationship stuff. They're very self-aware of that. They knew going into this, like, this is going to be celebrated for its family message. And what do they have to show for it other than, like, family's good? I like family.
Other than that, they did a good job, and the family were likable characters.
And then they had the fucking stupid Carapax guy being like, your weakness is liking family.
Yeah, that was...
I mean, yeah, it's cliche. I'll give you that. But yeah.
You're wrong!
Crap.
If we're picking worst things of the movie, Susan Sarandon, for me, was the absolute worst actor.
That's the thing. So, he's not completely wrong. Susan Sarandon in this movie was a little... I think she did a fine job with the performance, and it's obvious they're going for, you have Jaime and his family who are poor. They're about ready to lose their house. They have nothing. He's working as kind of like a janitor, cleaning up gum under tables. stuff like that. And, you know, he's struggling. He's desperate for a job. He works for Susan Sarandon's Victoria Court. Victoria Court is, like, obviously supposed to be on the other hand. She's rich. She has everything. She doesn't have the struggles of the family. She's obviously, you know, they're playing against each other. That being said, them playing against each other never quite works. She never quite works as a mirror for Hamey at all. It never quite works. So if you want to complain about the villains, yeah, they could have been better.
In the entire thing, she phoned that thing in so hard,
dude.
She was basically playing Hillary Clinton.
She was.
No. Well, I don't know about the comic book version. I've never read the comic book version of this character, but no, they're about ready to lose their house. They were losing their house in 3 months.
Evil, yes.
Except she likes Hillary Clinton. But yeah, no, the Jenny Cord, the actress played Jenny Cord. She was terrible. She was freaking awful.
She was also Brazilian, and I couldn't tell if they were trying to have her have an accent or not.
My dad was never able to unlock the scarab, so instead he built his own tech.
I didn't notice. It was fine.
I didn't think it was the worst movie I'd ever seen. It was very mid, if anything. Boo. Everything was...
Yeah, I mean, for these guys, everything has to be the worst movie ever, I guess. It's if you just call it mid, that's not good enough. It has to be the worst ever.
As cookie cutters, you could possibly think, even the cultural stuff was like...
Wow, they actually got a screenshot of one of the characters eating a taco. Jesus Christ. Like, I guess they had to work for that one.
Checking every single Hispanic box.
Oh, I thought it was great where he had the one sword, and then he had the other sword, and then she went, you can create anything. And we went, oh, let's make one sword out of the...
wait.
Well, yeah, no, so it made, like, his hands into blades, and, like, it said you could do anything you want, so what he did is he turned it into one sword, and he turned it into a giant sword, like actually a handheld sword that he could swing around and look cool with. Because it was obviously just him wanting to look cool.
Wait. There was a bigger sword.
It was a little bigger,
It was like
bigger
clouds.
sword.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's a Final Fantasy fan. That was probably the worst. They probably went out of their way to find a picture of someone overweight doing a Cloud cosplay. That being said, it's not bad cosplay. I guess just to make fun of somebody for being overweight, I guess, is the reason they pulled this example.
It was Cloud's sword, right?
It was the Buster sword.
Yeah, it looked like a Buster sword.
I mean, you know, if you do just a Google search of, like, Cloud cosplays, you could probably find much better ones. I wonder how far they had to look for that one. Let's see. I will give them a pass if it was one of the first results. Oh, I got bad news for them. Yeah, it's not remotely one of the first results. Wow. Yeah, so they probably had to look for, like, overweight. Because, yeah, we're just getting some really good ones. That's fantastic. I guess. It looks like that might be the same guy. But yeah, I'm not seeing the picture they had, meaning they probably looked for overweight Cloud instead of just looking up Cloud cosplay. Classy, guys. Classy.
I don't mind like somebody like that who's like they didn't show him ever playing video games or anything. I guess that's one of the problems, right?
Yeah.
Like if they had shown that he was like a gamer or whatever.
Controller on his side table.
Yeah, exactly. Right next to the salsa.
That's all you need.
Ha 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 ha. Okay. I mean, that's the thing. Like when you have Mexican American people doing stuff like in this movie, that's just them doing stuff. When you're just like a white guy making fun of like stereotypes, that's just being a bit bigoted, don't you think?
If they had shown that would have made a little more sense, but I could believe that like a 23-year-old kid would make something like that.
I know they keep on doing that joke, and I'll admit, like I don't mind eating tacos. Tacos are delicious.
I get it. It was cool for the moment.
Right on.
I have a lot of thoughts and feelings on.
Ooh, you have thoughts and feelings, Chrissy. You're so smart. Give us your thoughts and feelings. Miss, look how empty Black Panther 2 is when I'm going at 10 a.m. on Monday morning.
Blue Beetle. Most of which, was just the unnecessary, gratuitous racism. And I'm like...
Racism? Yeah, it's one of those things. They're just going to say that shit, and they're not going to, like, explain it. It's racist. Okay. You know, when I'm calling you guys racist, I'm showing examples, you know that, right?
Either these people have never worked in corporate America, or they're willingly just trying to make a point on purpose. Like a really good example is when, and I'm going to say Miguel from Cobra Kai, because I just keep forgetting his real name.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai guy, very likable, basically carries the whole film. There was a moment where he's in a jacket and a tie, and he's going in for his interview. He's going in basically to meet Jenny Cord at the big fancy Cord building. And the receptionist looks at this guy with his hair, his hair combed, jacket and tie, and goes, deliveries are downstairs, which would never fucking happen. I've been a receptionist.
I'm almost certain that has happened. So, yeah.
Like basically every job I've ever had, you would never say that. It's just like intentionally racist. Like, oh, because this guy is tan, and has no deliveries. Clearly he's here for deliveries. It was really kind of unbelievable the way they would sort of force the racism in.
Right.
That's wow. Yeah, no, we went over it. Her boss is Anthony Acumia. His Twitter is cringe as fuck. If you want to look up, if you're looking for some good unadulterated racism, look up Anthony Acumia's Twitter, who is Chrissie Mayr's boss.
And I agree with somebody else said it before. His family fucking sucks. Even when they're dropping him off for like the biggest interview of his life, they're fucking honking the taco horn.
Yeah, how dare they be nice? Listen, families embarrass their kids. I embarrass my kids. It's a long tradition of families just wanting to embarrass kids. It's a thing.
Yelling, they're screaming, and everybody's like,
and did she call it the taco horn? Jesus.
Buttoned up, and it's professional, and it's like, this is just like, I'm like,
telling him that they're all scum. The people in the company are all scum.
Yeah,
and shit.
I mean, George Lopez, in my opinion, had some of the most like cringy racist lines in the whole movie. And I don't know.
I love how these guys are complaining about racism. Like, these guys do racism nonstop. They did racism on their thumbnail, and then they're complaining about, this movie. We're so offended by this movie's racism. No, Mexican Americans telling a story about Mexican Americans can't be, it's just inherently not racist toward Mexican Americans. That's just not how that works.
No, that's because of how it was written, or because George Lopez is a comedian and he kind of was like,
have you ever watched the George Lopez show?
No. I don't know if that's because he brought a little something extra to it, but like the whole Batman is a fascist. Like he said a lot of dumb things, and like we learn out of.
Yes, Batman being a fascist was clearly presented as his point of view. Most of the characters liked Batman, and he just said Batman's a fascist. It was clearly just the character's point of view.
Of absolutely nowhere that he's this technical genius. Like we're supposed to just be like, oh, of course.
Yes, because I mean that's what you did with Tony Stark. They showed that he's a technical genius, and he is a technical genius, and that's what they do with this guy. He's not Tony Stark level by any means, but he is like pretty advanced as far as working with mechanical shit.
Of course, he's a tech genius. Like, isn't every Hispanic uncle a tech genius? Here's
what. Why?
Thing is, they threw everything.
Jacob, I would actually admit that, like, I'm not a huge George Lopez fan, and I thought he was fantastic in this movie.
Possible to make you care for this family, and I'm somebody who it doesn't take very much for me to cry at movies. Like, if you hit all those buttons, like, I'm gonna cry. Like, I can't control it. And it's like the dad had cardiac arrest.
Girl,
the dad died. The house was they did a Hawaiian forest fire on the house, aka they firebombed it. They did an abduction. They did a death. They did.
Do I need to look that up? I've never heard that before, but they're all laughing like she's saying something fucked up. So, okay, let's look this up. Goddamn Chrissie Mayr. I swear to God. You guys are welcome to tell me in chat, too. Oh, is that it? She thinks the Hawaiian fires are stage? So that's it? She just thinks the Hawaiian fires were staged? Of course she does. Of course she does. Chrissie Mayr is awful. Yeah. No, it's anti-Semitic as well. The Jewish space lasers, yes. Classy, Chrissy.
Did everything possible, and I think it was too much that they did to make us feel for this family. Oh, they're brown, so they're perpetual victims.
They just want to push us out of our neighborhood, the rich people.
They're like, oh, we're losing the house. I was like, hold the phone. There's what? How many working age adults in this family, and y'all?
Yeah, and they can't make even. It's an issue with the economic situation in this country, Chrissy. Look it up.
Can't make rent.
Right?
I'm like, oh,
I mean, it also is an issue with the country where lots of people who aren't like white have issues getting jobs, especially issues getting well-paying jobs. That's actually one of the issues addressed in this movie, because Hamey comes in with a pre-law degree, and he's instantly working like essentially being like a janitor for Victoria Court in her fancy building. Like that's what he was able to get a hold of. That's part of what the movie is talking about.
We're brown.
Maybe stop feeding the daughter. Maybe stop feeding her.
But the rich people save the.
Oh my god! Like, just marginal. Like what? She's marginally overweight, and she might even be happy. But like, oh, she's overfed. Just stop feeding her. What classy stuff, man.
Day at the end. The rich person just solves all of their problems.
True.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
The rich Brazilian comes in.
Try not to have a taco. I'm sorry, your truck that has about $10,000 of add-ons on a $2,000 truck. That's just a thought.
Yeah, I saw.
The idea I had was that kind of like he was probably just like junkyard surfing and junkyard. Is that the term, surfing? Going through junkyards and picking out what he can and customizing what he can. That was the impression I got.
A lot of similarities between like the Tony Stark.
Yeah, no, this is quite bad.
Tech that he gave to Peter Parker. The voice talking in the suit again reminded me of the personality inside the Iron Man suit.
Yes. Friday? No, it was actually Jarvis, but whatever. The Friday came later. But like, you think that like that originated there? That like Marvel has the copyright towards people wearing suits with voices? I'm pretty sure like I said, I haven't read the Hamey. What's the last name? I'm brain farting. But anyways, I haven't read his version of Blue Beetle. I've barely read the other version of Blue Beetle. Have I? I'm pretty sure I have. It's no matter what, it's been a while. But I assume that's an element from the story.
And the similar.
Oh, fuck. This is technical issue days, guy. Rays, yes.
Clarity of like, oh, Spider-Man doesn't kill, Blue Beetle doesn't kill,
but everybody else does.
I would give it like a B.
Yeah, no. In general, superheroes don't like killing because it's not really a superhero thing.
-C+, because obviously it's like, I'm more of a normie watching this. I'm like, all right, it's nice to look at, but
no, she's on here regularly, and she calls herself a normie watching this. So that's kind of a weird take.
The subtle but ever-present racism is something I couldn't ignore.
I like how they call it racist. What? Literally, Mexican-American people talking about, like, their experiences in a movie starring Mexican-American people. It doesn't seem racist to me.
Almost every scene, I was like, I've seen this. You copied it from thingy, you copied it from that, copied it. Anyone notice, like, when Peter's practicing in Raimi Spider-Man 1, trying to get his webs to work? It's the exact same scene when he's like, I'm trying to get my thrusters to work, can't do it.
Yeah, it's common in superhero movies where they try to figure out how to use their powers. Because it makes sense. I mean, it's like, and you're also talking like, the Spider-Man scene, like that's where that originated, man. There's superhero movies before Spider-Man where they're playing around and trying to figure out their powers too. That's not unheard of, man.
Do it. What's going on? It must be something. I was just like, yeah, I've seen that. The fact that it's like a teenager's understanding of how to approach the problem of killing in a superhero movie, it's like, I should.
What? Yeah, no, he doesn't. The suit wants to kill people, and he doesn't. That's a key part of the movie, which is actually pretty interesting. I would actually say, behind the family, I loved the family most in this movie. My second favorite aspect of the movie was the relationship between Hamey and the suit. I thought that was fantastic.
Shouldn't do it because I just shouldn't. And then later he's like...
Exactly. It's almost like it's an origin story.
But now I want to because you hurt my dad. To me, it's just...
Yeah. his dad died. Okay, I guess they already spoiled it. His dad died, and he was in an emotional state, and he was ready to kill the dude over it, and the suit stopped him, which shows growth from his relationship with the suit, because the suit was earlier the one ready to kill people. And, like, when Amy's ready to kill this guy, the suit's like, no, I don't think you are. Like, you're not ready for this. I don't think if you're thinking rationally, you'd want to do this. And suit stops him. It's actually a really nice moment.
It's like you managed to understand the idea, but you could have done it a little more interestingly.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've heard some praise for the family and like his dad, Uncle Bendejo, I don't know.
I have no idea.
Fucking classy, guys. Jesus.
Doesn't that mean asshole?
Yeah.
Always am.
Pendejo.
But I didn't give a fuck.
Asshole.
When like trying to like, so when he came in because the whole family were about to be shot, I was like, this would be so fucking cool if they.
I feel like this is just a decent movie, but they don't really have anything to really like attack it on. So rather than admit that it's just a decent movie, they decide, oh, let's shit on it by being racist. It feels like what we're watching here. Guys, let's just be racist and shit on it that way.
All just got minced by the minigun. Do it, have the balls. You're like, no. And then I was like, the dad's gonna fucking have a heart attack, and then he's gonna die, and he's gonna be like, you killed my papa. And I was just like, this is so fucking boring. Get on with it. And then they actually had the I think it's fair.
No, the vaccine killed your dad.
What? Yeah, sure. The vaccine killed your dad. Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah. Anti-vax jokes. Let's joke around about the vaccine. Never mind the fact that COVID killed millions upon millions of people. Let's joke about the vaccine that prevented millions upon millions of deaths. Let's joke about that, guys. It's funny.
It's fair to reference Black Panther, but like I said, to me, it was just Iron Man versus Ironmonger at the end. That's all that was.
Yep.
Yep.
If they had done a little bit more instead of just constantly making fucking taco references with the family and had them instill some sort of morality in terms of,
Well, I mean, lots of the EFAP fans come over here and yell at me for looking for that scene in Doctor Strange to see if he has issue with a lesbian couple. And I'll admit, I didn't see it there. It wasn't there. But then he's just doing some casual, like, bigotry there. Mauler is. So, what's her argument again?
We turn the other cheek. We don't fight back. Like something like that. And the family also exhibited those traits. Then maybe you could understand why Jaime felt that way.
Yeah.
And like the very much, I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to kill people kind of thing.
Like, it's not like they really explore it with Spider-Man either. Like, do you really need an explanation as to why one person wouldn't want to kill another person? Do you really need that explained to you? I feel like that's kind of just normal human nature. And to be frank, I'm a little disturbed that you feel that needs to be explained.
But they obviously didn't give a fuck. They went on a murdering spree.
That would take talent and skill and creativity to do that. This was just checking those boxes of family, love each other.
Good person.
Like, that's it. Like, there's no connective tissue there.
And it's so funny to watch it copy these films and forget like a whole bunch of the details, because him sparing Carapax leads to like a lot of death and destruction, but that's never acknowledged. That's like the interesting question. It's
that's a struggle. That's literally a struggle lots of superheroes have. Because there's the Punisher argument. You can stop them from killing more people by you killing them. But it's like lots of heroes don't want to bring themselves to that level. It's a conflict lots of superheroes have. Mauler, you act like you're an expert on shit like this. You should understand that.
Spider-Man deals with in almost all the fucking movies, but this movie's like, I'm like Spider-Man. We don't kill, and then we think about it, but then we don't.
Well, that's the thing. Like, they're talking like this movie is doing all the cliches, and then they're complaining when it doesn't do all the cliches they expect it to do. It's like they're complaining about too many cliches, and then also complaining about not enough cliches. It's bizarre.
All the funniest shit for me was
Yeah.
completely like supposed to be taken seriously, I think, and that's why I was having so much fun. Like watching Susan Sarandon get dragged off into a fire pit, and he was just like, "Should I do something?" Nah.
The only joke I laughed at is when, sorry, spoilers, when the scarab gets into his body. He's all, "How'd it get in there?" He's all, "It went up your culo."
Yeah.
Culo.
It didn't go up my ass. It didn't.
Everyone's talking about, oh, I gave this, I love the family aspect. I went to see this movie with my dad, and I'm not joking, the first thing he said to me after we came out is, I couldn't stand that family. So
family
it's like,
were
clearly, it doesn't, not all around the world.
I like the fact that they try to incorporate these family values and this family sticking together and all that shit. The terrible part was the family themselves are annoying characters.
Yeah.
Wait, Ryan, just earlier in this video, was talking about how he liked the family aspect, and now he's backtracking on this, probably to get along with everybody else. Just, there's no consistency with these guys. Like, Ryan could be the one that's like, hey, I actually kind of like the family aspect, but no, he has to just, backpedal because all the other guys have been bashing on the family. These guys are fucking worthless, I swear.
And they were there all the time. I wanted to see the main character do.
They don't have any reasons for disliking the family, by the way. They call the family racist and whatever, but like, essentially, it's like, we don't like it. And it's like, why? The family was charming. I thought they had a great relationship. I love seeing the background. I love Nana's, like, they don't go into the detail of her backstory, but I love how she ends up being, like, essentially the biggest badass of the family. And I love how essentially all the characters kind of have their own little story. I thought the scene with the father and Amy was fucking touching. That almost brought tears to my eyes. That was so wonderful. The family was great.
Do stuff.
This is the type of film that is like, it felt like it was the story was written for a really low budget film, but was given a really high budget.
It was meant to be on HBO Max first.
Like, there are some really low grade superhero movies that end up on, I don't know, some streaming service and stuff like that. Like Sky High, there's one. I actually think Sky High is an
I'm pretty sure Sky High was theatrical release, but it was a while ago.
historically better film than this. But it's got
easily
corny things in it, and the writing was so.
I've never seen Sky High. I've never seen it, so I can't judge it.
Nonsense and stupid that it really felt like it was one of those low grade films, but it was just throwing a massive budget.
When he fucks around.
It's actually like, I think it was around $100 million the budget for this movie, and it's obviously a higher budget movie, but it's not like as big a lot of other movies. I mean, it's the third of the budget of Indiana Jones, and frankly, it looked better. It looks so much better than The Flash. It's not even close from a visual effects standpoint, and I think a lot of it is because they could, even though like this superhero requires a lot of CGI, they could save money because a lot of the best elements are the family elements, and focusing on those elements is the strength of the movie. Are they grading it, though? I don't even feel like they're grading this movie. They're just like, I literally feel like they kind of liked it, but they know that like going on here and liking shit just doesn't get in the algorithm. So what they're going to do is kind of like backhanded bash it and do racist shit to it. It's all they got.
Around with it after being told not to, and he starts transforming with the suit. That was where like the tone for the film just completely fucked me, because I was watching him screaming in agony.
In agony.
It looks like it's melting, and he's just crippled himself onto the ceiling. The whole family are like, oh, no.
He flies out of the ceiling.
And you might notice, even from the trailer clips there, that looks pretty good.
And then they're repairing the table
while
he's
gone.
The police.
Yeah? Yes, stuff got broken and they were trying to fix it. It was the family home.
Rob, they don't know where he is.
Well,
and
they
they're
can't
just like,
call,
let's fix.
And they're also calling the police. He was launched into space. What do you want them to do?
Our table, because that's more important.
They can't call.
So weird.
They were on the phone with.
What? They're calling the police as he was launched into space. Like, what do you want them to do? They should obviously like notify the authorities and distract themselves, frankly.
I don't know what I was supposed to do, but he
grew things out of his back and flew up.
Hey, Policia,
Mauler's 100% on though, because it is like it shifts to this almost like horrific feeling. of this, and it's just George Lopez high-pitched screaming, and it's like slapstick comedy bullshit. And it's like it does not match the tone at all.
Well, he said that scene took multiple days to film.
Well, Alex, I don't think there will be a sequel because it's not doing well. That being said, like I said, go watch it. I thought it was a really good movie. Like I said, for me, it's probably like number 3 as far as comic book movies this year, behind Guardians 3 and Across the Spider-Verse. But yeah, it was good. It was charming. I recommend it. Now, if they were to do a sequel, I don't have any like I said, I'm not super familiar with the Blue Beetle at all, so I don't have any big ideas for what to do with it. For me, I just primarily kind of want to bring the same crew back and have them do a second round with it. So when I say same crew, I'm primarily talking about the writer and director.
So they really tried for that one.
Wow.
Man,
wow. That's the best they got.
For people who want to turn their brain off and just watch fun, flashy lights, everything like that, I think this film has an even greater failing. And it's a really lame superhero story. He doesn't go on a superhero arc. He doesn't really learn or achieve anything. In fact...
Did you watch the movie? Did you watch it? At first, he's got this bug thing in his back, and then he's trying to figure out how to get it out, and then he eventually embraces it, and then eventually the bug thing starts listening to him. Did you watch the movie at all? I don't think you watched it.
This is probably the biggest crime for me in the entire film. He's the damsel in distress. He doesn't save anyone. Yep. He is the one that needs to get saved by...
Well, I mean, the dude is threatening to kill people, and his family is kind of being put in danger by helping save him. Because they do help save him, but then they're kind of in danger as well, and then he kind of has to come in and save the day. Why do you need a traditional, person captured, Shad? Again, this is this thing. You guys complain about this thing having too many cliches, then you complain about it not having enough cliches. Again, I think you guys like this movie, but you can't admit it because it's profitable to hate on it.
By his family!
What about how Blue Beetle essentially killed his father? Because when he was getting shot and he was protecting the family, the robot wanted to kill them all. And that would have meant they couldn't shoot anybody. But instead, he knocked them back, they got back up, caused more stress, made the father run, and then he had a heart attack running away.
We saw...
Well, that's a fucking take. Yeah, how dare he try to push his family out of the way while they're getting shot at? What did you want him to do? It's such a weird fucking take. It's not like he, forced his father to have a heart attack. It was a risky situation. He's doing the best he can with limited information.
All those wings chop a bus in half. Yep. And I'm thinking, so someone died then? Because
all those people should be right down the walkway.
If there was one person even a little bit that way, they're dead.
That'd be a great weapon. Some kind of giant shield.
It's almost like this movie's about him learning how to use these powers and doesn't fully towards the end he's getting pretty good at embracing them, but he doesn't fully understand them yet. Isn't that weird?
Could cut through things.
Well, my first thought when I saw that scene was, why didn't he just...
Who the fuck is this guy? I've never seen this guy before in my life.
Fly up. Why didn't the suit go, we'll just hover over the bus rather than cut the...
I hope they do a group shot next, because I want to count these guys.
Fucking thing in half.
It was testing its shield thing.
Yeah, they wanted to show you things which they wouldn't use in the film.
Later on, when they were particularly...
Well, they're establishing that the suit can pretty much make a lot of stuff, which is its power, and that is used in the film. Do you guys even watch the fucking movie?
Useful, that probably would have been very useful with the battle.
That's my favorite trope in Hollywood movies these days. Showing shit that would be useful. And then never using it again.
They give him shit tons of moves that you obviously never see again. But one of the ones I was thinking of is all of the Blue Beetle's abilities in the
again. They're complaining, this movie has too many cliches, and they're complaining about not having enough cliches. These are not criticisms, man.
Form of these random gadgets that just get thrown to the family. She's just
yes, exactly. They're upset because the suit is accurate to canon.
Remember when she picks up the power glove and the lady is just just press buttons. Yeah, just go.
Okay, group shot. We need to count this. So 10. There's 10 guys over here. We got Gary, Nerdrotic. We got Heelsvsbabyface, Ryan Kinel, Dude I Don't Know, Quarter Black Garrett, Disparu, Mauler, Shad, Chrissie, and X-Ray Girl, who... X-Ray Girl, I don't think has said a goddamn thing this entire video so far. Not a goddamn thing. In fact, I think I've seen her in multiple ones of these streams, and I don't think I've ever seen her fucking talk. She's just, like, sitting there. So is she, like, just there so you can have another woman there? Or is she a video of a woman that you can pretend like there's more women in this group? I don't know. But let's go ahead and just admit we have 10 people here reviewing a movie, and not a single one of them understands how to review a movie whatsoever. They are completely clueless as to what type of things you critique a movie on, how you talk about movies, how you analyze them. I mean, the closest thing we've got to a positive thing on here was Ryan Kinel saying he liked The Family at the beginning, and then reversing that a few minutes later when it was clear that wasn't the norm. This is garbage. Frankly, I've done more work critiquing this movie, reacting to their shit, than these 10 fucking people have done actually talk about the movie.
I was waiting for it to just fire off a missile or something.
That's all the tech work, though. Like in Taco, when George Lopez was like, "Hey, I made a machine that could jam shit," it literally is just a red box with a button on it that does things.
But at least Ted Cord.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a comic book movie, man.
Cord is a fucking guy who was the Blue Beetle and like created all this tech.
True, yeah.
It was like a billionaire and all this shit. At least that him developing random shit makes sense. How they utilize it was stupid as fuck. I do have a question for Gary.
So they're immediately saying they prefer the Ted Cord Blue Beetle. You know, the white. Well, was he supposed to be a white guy? I'm not sure. But anyways, the guy Blue Beetle over Hamey. Okay, that's a take.
Someone who is familiar with Ted Cord and Jaime Reyes in the comics. How did you feel about how they incorporated a lot of... I was surprised there were so many, Ted Cord references.
Yes.
And also that they used the bug and like all this stuff that were very clear callbacks and references to Blue Beetle.
I was surprised that they, sorry, spoilers, they didn't kill Ted Cord and they were referencing it. And I thought that was probably the one part that was cool, but like that's it. That it was basically jangling keys, and it was nostalgia bait to show the original Blue. Well, the one that I know. It's not the original Blue Beetle.
The second one, but like the second one that people know.
Yeah, but all it was like a station.
Hamey's pretty popular as well. He's the Blue Beetle I usually hear people refer to anymore. I don't know how he measures to Ted Cord. I imagine he's more popular, but
stationary costume on a mannequin. So I'm like, that's cool, but it's a stationary costume on a mannequin. And they're obviously going to bring him up later in the movie, which they...
Yeah, that was the mid-credit scene, bro.
did for a sequel we're never going to get.
But
yeah.
That is probably true.
I feel like that was the point of that, though, that he was like, if you want me to come back, I'll bring back Ted Cord. You like him?
No. And honestly, I would have rather have seen Ted Cord's version.
Classy music to play him out to.
The one.
You'd rather see Ted Cord's the white guy, right? Ted Cord's a white guy. Let me double check that. Yeah, I'm seeing people in chat tell me he is the white guy. He's looking pretty white to me. Yeah, it looks like people were theorizing that Jason Sudeikis could play Ted Cord. Yeah, he looks pretty white. Yeah, so they're upset that the white guy didn't play Blue Beetle. That it was Jaime Reyes' version, which honestly was a great version. I enjoyed it. I thought they did a great job with it. Let's go ahead and finish this shit show. It's almost over.
And I read the one that works better with Booster Gold. Quite frankly, they work better together.
Booster Gold's not in this, so I don't know why you're relating it.
Jaime Reyes is fine, but that was during a really bad era of DC as well. This is what they were going for anyway with DC back in the day, was they wanted to have a Spider-Man. They wanted to try to have their own Spider-Man.
Of course, he's the most popular superhero ever, and Blue Beetle's not really like similar to Spider-Man at all. So maybe just like in character-wise, kind of like Spider-Man. Even then, it seems like kind of a stretch. So I guess if they wanted to be like Spider-Man, they're doing it the right way because it's different. Yeah, Yeah, that video was awful. That was awful.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.